So I'm Martina, and I'm going to be presenting a paper based in Uruguay that is entitled Sharing Parental Leave Between Mothers and Fathers, Experimental Evidence from a Messaging Intervention in Uruguay, that is a collaborative effort by Cecilia Olivieri, Aileen Tomio, Jorge Luis Castaneda, and Ana María Muñoz Boudet, colleagues from Universidad de la República and the World Bank. So just to motivate, I think that all of you are well aware that parental leave have been increasingly used to facilitate balancing care and work responsibilities, and also to promote gender equality in the distribution of care tasks within the households. There is also robust evidence that fathers take up of such leaves, increase their involvement in childcare and another housework, and that this greater father involvement in childcare has positive effects on child's cognitive and non-cognitive development, on mothers and children's mental well-being, and also on gender equity. However, fathers' leave take-up is still low, and this is a stylized fact that it has been seen globally, of which Uruguay is no exception. So to give you an idea of this program in Uruguay, in 2013, we created and implemented a parental leave program in Uruguay. That is a typical parental leave that, above the mandatory maternity and paternity leaves, create a parental leave that can be shared between the mother and the father, with the explicit objective of increasing father involvement in childcare activities and reduce gender labor gaps. So now, with this parental leave scheme, new parents can work part-time while being paid for the full, while receiving full paid. And interestingly, this subsidy is fully paid by the Social Security Institute in Uruguay, so it's publicly funded, so no extra costs are exposed to the firms. So we are not expecting here demand-side negative effects, as we saw on a paper presented yesterday. So this subsidy covers from the end of the maternity leave at around 3 months of the newborns until the newborn turns 6 months, so it's a 3-month parental leave scheme that, as I mentioned, allows the father and the mother to share the parental leave, this part-time parental leave, and alternate the use. Again, fathers are not using this benefit, and only 2% of the total beneficiaries are the fathers, and the other 98% are the mothers. And evidence have shown that some barriers, in the case of Uruguay, for fathers' take-up of the policy are the lack of information. Around 20% of the fathers are not aware of the existence of the policy, and 40% are not aware that they can use the benefit along with the mother. There are also a perception of incurring in monetary cost in the form of reduced wages or career progression. And there are also, despite Uruguay is one of the countries in Latin America with more progressive gender norms, there are still entrenched gender norms that assign the childcare responsibilities to the mother. So in this context, we designed and implemented, together with the Social Security Institution, the policy practitioners of this policy, we implemented an information intervention to improve awareness and knowledge of this new parental leave program, alter gender norms around childcare, and ultimately increase fathers' intentions to use the parental leave in Uruguay. So by doing so, we believe our contribution is twofold. First, we contribute to the growing literature on the use of behavioral sciences to inform the delivery of social programs and to increase the uptake of social programs. In particular, similar interventions have been proved successful in increasing preschool attendance, promoting early childhood development, and change parenting practices within the household, but there is still limited evidence or scarcer evidence on such interventions aimed at changing active care sharing within the household. And we also aim to contribute to the literature on intra-household roles allocation of care. In particular, there is limited evidence on how low-cost information interventions can be applied to improve program take-up and change or alter the intra-household allocation of care responsibilities. So in this, we implemented a classical randomized control trial. Our experimental design targeted 2 different population groups, and we designed 2 separate interventions according to the beneficiary's proximity to parenthood. So for intervention 1 targeted men and women of reproductive age that are, thank you, formally employed, they are registered in the Social Security institution, they are eligible for receiving the leave program, but they are not beneficiaries, nor they didn't apply for any of the parental leave programs. And within this intervention setting, we draw 2 different treatment arms. So one group was treated, they received an information message with information about the program, how can they apply, basic information and basic characteristics of such policy. And another group, they didn't receive any message. So the control group is exposed to only to publicly available information about the program. The second group, so intervention 2, is targeted to men and women of reproductive age that are current users of any parental leave, maternity or paternity leave, or they were applicants of such policies. So the first intervention, they are men and women of reproductive age, and the second intervention targeted recent parents that are more likely to be exposed to the parental leave program. And within this intervention, we computed 3 different treatment arms. They all receive the information about the policy because they are likely to be beneficiaries or potentially beneficiaries of this policy, so they all receive the basic information so that they can apply for the policy. But we designed 3 different kind of message frame. So one treatment arm only received the information message. The second treatment arm, they received the information plus a testimony message that emphasizes the importance of fathers' involvement in care activities by showing the case of a father that was recent father, and he made use of the parental leave program, and they benefited of such experience. And the third message is composed of the information component and also a message emphasizing the importance of couple planning and sharing care responsibilities upon the birth of a new child. So in this intervention, we have no pure control group. We have 3 treatment arms, of which all receive the information, and we are going to test the differences, the differential effects of the different message framing. So within each of the interventions, the participants were randomly assigned to the different treatment arms. So this is a standard randomized control trial experimental setting. Just to give you an idea of the timeline of the intervention, so in early 2021, we conducted qualitative work to identify the barriers, and that information helped us design the different messages, all the information, but also the testimony and the couple planning kind of message. In August 2021, we piloted the intervention, and on September the 1st, we delivered the intervention, and we sent emails and text message to almost 15,000 participants of both interventions. 20 weeks after that, we conducted a post-treatment survey, phone survey, to a random sample of 2,500 people. from the experiments. So to investigate the effects of this intervention, we estimate the following equations separately for women and men, where the left-hand side variable are a group of 3 outcomes. We are going to explore the effects of the intervention on knowledge of the policy and different program features. We are going to analyze the effects on level of agreement with 5 statements regarding gender norms, and we are also analyzing the effects on intentions to use the parental leave program for each intervention. On the right-hand side variables, we have a set of treatment dummies that will gonna vary by intervention. So for intervention 1, beta 1, it's gonna identify the effects of having received the information message against receiving no message at all, so against being exposed just to publicly available information. And for intervention 2, we are gonna analyze the effects of receiving the testimony message against the information-only message, and beta 3, it's gonna report us the effects of receiving the planning message against only the information message. As we are dealing with a standard RCT, these coefficients can be interpreted as intention to treat effects. So jumping into the main results, I summarize the results by intervention, but you can explore the paper if you are interested to explore further results. For intervention 1, so the effects on workers of reproductive age, we explore the result on knowledge and gender norms. We find significant and positive effects of having received the message on knowledge, and these effects are more pronounced among women, of which among whom we see an increased overall knowledge, and also knowledge of some characteristics such as the starting date, the duration, the fact that both the mother and the father can use the benefit, and then they can share it. For men, we see more modest effects, but still we see an interesting result that there is an increased knowledge that both the mother and the father can use the benefit. On gender norms, we see more modest result, but still we see that women that receive the message with the information, they reduce the agreement with the statement that women should take care of their baby during the first month. So the intervention kind of reduced the agreement with traditional gender norms among women with no effects among men. And for intervention 2, so for the effects among recent parents, we explore the results, the effects on gender norms and behaviors. For gender norms, we see no effects among men, and among women, and for men, we have mixed results. We have positive effects on the planning message, increasing the agreement with the statement that it's important for the baby that both parents use the parental leave, but on the other hand, we also find an increase in the agreement with the fact that women should take care of the baby during breastfeeding, and in the paper we discuss this further, showing that probably the framing and the phrasing of message, the message 3, the one about planning, could have some lack in the design, in the sense that we mentioned directly the breastfeeding word, and that could have reinforced the association between breastfeeding and the mother's role during the first days of the baby, and so kind of this backfire and produce unintended effects of the policy. And for behaviors, we have scarcer results, more modest and more imprecise, but still we find that men who receive the testimony message, so the role model, kind of increase the intention to use compared to only receiving the message. So just to conclude, in a context of a quite generous family policy in the context of Latin America, we still have that fathers are not making use of such a generous parental leave program, and so we design an intervention to kind of tackle or address this issue. The message intervention showed successfully in increasing the knowledge of the policy and some program characteristics, and also the intervention altered some traditional gender norms. However, we kind of identify 3 limitations that draw on policy implications. First, it is important to design the message correctly and also test and validate the message so that we are sure that they have no lack of information and they cannot backfire on the intended effects. We also highlight the limits of such low intensity. We only send one message, and so we have a small proportion of people recalling having received the message. So we kind of call for a need to have an idea of an optimal frequency or number of messages people have to be sent, so to recall the message, but not to be overloaded with information. And finally, the less pronounced effects on intentions and behaviors to use the parental leave kind of underscores the challenges of behavioral interventions for achieving meaningful effects in behaviors that are deeply embedded in social norms. And that's it. If you are interested in the paper, you can access through that code. Thank you.